What's going on, guys? Welcome back to CWTV. Today, I'm going to show you everything I know about jig fishing. So that way, if you're just now getting into jig fishing, you have some idea of how to jig fish, right? So, the importance of jig fishing, right, is they can catch some really, really big bass, right? But there's a couple things you need to know: what color, what size, and where. Okay, what color, what size, and where. Right. So for let's go. Let's start at the beginning. The color. Right. Choosing your color depends on the body of water that you're fishing on. So the water that I'm on now is a little stained, a little dirty. Okay. So for stained waters, you're gonna want to use those darker colors like black and blue, uh, something like that. Right. For the for the clearer waters, you're gonna want to use the more natural bait. So something like that has green and orange in it, like this jig. Uh, for dirty water, I like to throw this black and blue, right? So uh, that's pretty much how I go off the color chart for what color to throw, what color not to throw, and just tweak it as I go. All right. Oh, I forgot something else that you need to know. Trailers, okay? But we'll get into that in a little bit later. All right. So the size, right? For the size jigs, I I have two, right? Either 3/8 or a half. So what I have tied on now is a 3/8 jig. Um, it works very well for me. It's easy to cast. It's easy to get these jigs into tight spaces and stuff like that. Easy to pitch. Easy to feel the bite. So I really am confident at throwing a 3/8 jig. The half ounce jig, I like it as well. Half ounce I'll usually throw in grass mats or around grass and stuff like that. Um, but half ounce is usually when the bite is more back to back, right? So you want to throw a 3/8 when it's a slow bite. All right. If it's a slow bite, that means the fish wants a slower presentation. The half ounce, it drops really fast, so it's not as a slower presentation for the bass. So when the bass, so during the wintertime, the bass likes the 3/8 ounce uh jig, right? During um I don't know, like spring, summer, um spawn, the bass likes half ounce because they're feeding, right? So for the sizes, that's it. All right, I'm 3/8 or a half. If you're punching mats or like really thick vegetation, you can try to look for a 3/4 ounce or even an ounce, but that's only during those cases. I wouldn't recommend throwing them uh, just because. You know what I'm saying? Trailers. All right, trailers. I have three trailers that I use. Right, I got the Guggen bait, Bandito bug. Right, I got this in black and blue. I love me some black and blue. I got me the Kraken Crawl, also made by Guggen baits. Um, and then I also have the Rage Tail. Um, this is also in black and blue. So those are my three trailers I mainly use when I'm punching like really thick vegetation and stuff like that. I'll even use a what is it called? Bronco bug made by Crush City, right? It's just a really much bigger presentation. You're throwing a much bigger bait, so I really like to use those. Now, where are you gonna throw a jig at? You want to target brush piles. You want to target like kind of close to the bank. You want to target any type of structure. You can target rocks. Uh, Fishing a jig is so versatile, right? It's very easy, very simple. I know I struggle with jig fishing at times, but now that I got the hang of it, it's a wonderful lure, right? And the best way to get better at jig fishing is forcing yourself to only jig fish. That means come out here with one pole and jig and trailers and just start throwing that jig. Force yourself to use that jig. And then once you start getting the bites, once you start catching fish, I promise you, it changes everything. It's a game changer, man. But nonetheless, we're about to go find a spot and we're gonna go pitch this jig and I'm gonna show you how to fish it. Okay, guys, we're gonna target this isolated island. Right? I guess I shouldn't call it isolated. I can just call it an island. But we're gonna target this island right here. Right. So how I fish the jig, right? Right. Pitch it out. I'll make sure it hits the bottom. And once it hits the bottom, I'll bounce it off the bottom. Right. That's really it. You want to make sure you don't have too much slack in your line. So that way you're guaranteed to feel that bite. I'll bounce it a couple times, reel it in, pitch it right back out. Make sure it hits that bottom, bounce, tighten that line, bounce. Now, so something important, right? So I just felt a log or a stick in the water. Instead of trying to force it out, right? Just simply work the lure over. So you might have to bounce it and then give it one nice little a bump. You give it one nice little bump. Okay. You know, some people like to drag it on the bottom and stuff like that. I don't really drag because a crawfish doesn't drag, man. It either bump bump or it swims. Now, what's also important, right? When you find you a good spot, cast in, you want that jig to sit in that spot, right? You don't want to cast and then think. So you don't want to cast and your jig to go down like this. You want your jig to fall straight down. So in order to do that, right, sometimes you have to let a little slack out your line. So when you cast, all right, let a little bit of slack out your line. And by the time you tighten your line, your jig's already there. Your jig's already at the bottom, at the spot that you intended to cast to. Now, one thing you don't want to do is mess up because you have to throw this jig in some pretty rough spots, right? One thing you don't want to do is have too light of a line, right? So I throw my jig on no less than 20-pound test line, fluorocarbon, right? Now when I'm punching, so when I'm flipping mats, flipping heavy cover, then I'll throw it on a 65-pound braid. But that is the only time I will throw a jig on braid. I also always make sure you're paying attention to your trailer, right? If you lose a little leg, right, it does you no good. So we're gonna throw a new one on that bad boy real quick. Now let me show you. God dang it! Make sure you don't pull it out, pull the leg off, bring it out the package. That ain't gonna help you either. All right. Now what I do, right? So this is the Kraken Crawl. It has these little indents on the cracker crawl. I'll peel the first one off. Go to the first indent, peel it off, just like so. I'll push my weed guard in, and I'll run that cracker crawl up on the hook. Now when the cracker crawl gets about right there, right, that's when I'll push the hook through. Okay, with my weed guard out the way, with my skirt out the way, and I'll run all the way up on that hook keeper. And I'll make sure it's on the hook keeper real good now. So now I'm ready to go. Now, y'all see all these little pockets in here? You will want to target those, man. Sometimes a bass likes to sit in these little pockets, and they think it's an easy meal. Once I know I'm out of the pocket, I simply reel in, find another pocket. But this is pretty much how I fish with the jig. Um, if you enjoy the content, please smash that like button for me. Hit that subscribe button for me. Let's grow. Um, and I just really, really appreciate everybody that's tuned in today. And I just want to say thank you. We're slowly grinding, man. The grind don't stop, man. But until next time, see you guys later.